Your great-grandfather had better cortisol than you. How 100 years of progress broke your stress response, and what to do about it. Let me ask you something. When's the last time you woke up, without an alarm, feeling completely rested? No grogginess, no reaching for coffee before you'd even opened your eyes, just awake, ready. For most Americans right now, that sounds like a dream. And here's what I find remarkable. Your great-grandfather in 1925, a man who had far less money than you, far less medicine than you, and far harder physical work than you, woke up that way almost every single morning. Not because he was tougher, not because he was luckier, because his cortisol was working the way it was designed to work, and yours probably isn't. I'm Dr. Larry Ward. I've spent 29 years in clinical practice watching what happens when the human stress system, the most sophisticated survival mechanism ever created, gets pushed beyond what it was designed to handle. Today I want to show you exactly how that happened and what you can do about it. Let's go back to 1925. I want you to follow a man through a single day. He gets up at 5:30 in the morning, not because an alarm startled him awake, because the light coming through thin curtains gradually brightened the room. His body had been in complete darkness all night. No LED glow from a phone charger, no streetlights burning through the window, just darkness. His brain had flooded with melatonin from dusk to dawn, and now, as light hit his eyes, his cortisol began its natural morning rise, the cortisol awakening response, giving him energy and mental clarity for the day ahead. Not coffee, biology. Breakfast, eggs, bacon, toast. Real food. Food that had been grown or raised within a few miles of his home. No high fructose corn syrup. It wouldn't be invented for another 30 years. No ingredient list with 40 items he couldn't pronounce. Just food. Then he walked to work, 2 miles, not because he was health conscious, because he had no other choice. And while he walked, morning light continued to calibrate his circadian clock. His work was physical. He was on his feet, moving, and at 5 o'clock when the whistle blew, work ended. There was no email waiting for him at home, no work phone buzzing at dinner, no way for his boss to reach him until the next morning. He ate dinner with his family. No television, no screens, just conversation. He was home, and his nervous system knew it. By 8:30, the house was getting dark and cool. His brain was receiving clear signals. It's night, time to wind down. And by 9 p.m., he was asleep. 8 to 9 hours of genuine darkness and silence. Now here's the key insight. His life had real hardship. The Great Depression hit not long after this. World wars. No antibiotics yet. He wasn't living in paradise. But his stress system, his cortisol system, was doing exactly what it was designed to do. Stress came, stress resolved, recovery happened. Every single day. Now let's follow you. Your alarm goes off at 6:30. Not the sun, an alarm. You grab your phone before your feet hit the floor. Email, news, social media. Within 60 seconds, your amygdala, the threat detection center of your brain, has already fired. Cortisol is already elevated, and you haven't had breakfast yet. You drive to work, maybe a 30-minute commute, more if you're in a city. Sitting, not walking. Your body releases cortisol to mobilize you for physical action, and then that action never comes. At work, you sit at a desk for 8 hours. You eat lunch at your desk, scrolling your phone. Your coworkers do the same. Nobody is fully present anywhere. You get a difficult email from a client at 4:45. Your body releases cortisol as if you're facing a predator. but there's no predator to outrun. You just sit with it. On the drive home, you're still replaying it. You eat dinner, probably something processed, probably fast, probably in front of a screen. By 10 p.m., you're on your phone or watching TV with the lights blazing. Blue light is flooding your eyes. Your brain cannot tell the difference between that light and daylight. Melatonin production is suppressed. Your cortisol, which should have dropped to its lowest point hours ago, stays stubbornly elevated. You finally get to bed at midnight. You fall asleep okay, but at 3 a.m., you're wide awake, mind racing. That's classic dysregulated cortisol, a second spike at exactly the wrong time. 6 hours later, the alarm goes off and we start again. Now multiply that by 365 days, by 10 years, by 20 years. This is what my book, Cortisol Nation, calls the mismatch. Your body is running ancient evolutionary software in an environment it was never designed to handle. The software is not broken. The environment has changed. This didn't happen overnight. It happened in stages. In the 1950s, television entered American homes. For the first time in human history, we had a reason to sit still and stare at a glowing screen in the evening instead of winding down naturally. In the 1970s, high-fructose corn syrup began appearing in our food supply. Fast food went mainstream. The idea that meals should take less than 5 minutes to prepare took hold. In the 1990s, email changed work forever. Suddenly, your boss could reach you at 9 p.m. The psychological boundary between work and home, the boundary that protected your grandfather's recovery time, was gone. 2007, the iPhone. Now the entire digital world was in your pocket, in your bedroom, on your nightstand, available 24 hours a day. Every notification, every ping, every like, every breaking news alert is a small cortisol trigger. Small, but constant. And then social media added something that truly has no equivalent in all of human history. The ability to compare yourself to millions of strangers simultaneously. Your grandfather compared himself to maybe 100 people he actually knew. You compare yourself to the curated highlight reels of billions. Each innovation seemed like progress. Each one added another chronic stressor your cortisol system was never built to handle. The result? Today, the American Psychological Association reports that the majority of Americans are living with what they classify as extreme stress. Anxiety disorders are the most common mental illness in the country. Chronic sleep deprivation affects a third of adults, and conditions like type 2 diabetes, autoimmune disease, cardiovascular disease, all of which have cortisol dysregulation at their root, are at historic highs. Let me explain what this is actually doing to your body. Cortisol is your survival hormone. When a real threat appears, a car swerving toward you, an animal charging at you, cortisol surges to give you explosive physical capability. It raises blood sugar for fast energy. It shunts blood to your muscles. It sharpens your senses. It suppresses everything non-essential, digestion, immunity, reproduction, because when you're running for your life, those things can wait. This is an extraordinarily effective system for short-term physical threats. The problem is that your body cannot distinguish between a tiger and a difficult email. Both activate the same response, and while the tiger encounter lasts a few minutes, the difficult email can follow you home, keep you up at night, and replay in your mind for weeks. Over time, the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the system that controls cortisol production, becomes dysregulated. In my practice, I see this in 4 patterns. Some patients are what I call the wired type, always elevated, always on, can't turn off. Some are the tired type, so burned out their adrenal system can barely produce adequate cortisol anymore. Some have lost the natural rhythm entirely, flatlined throughout the day. And some have a reversed pattern, low when they need it high, high when they need it low, completely inverted. All four patterns share one thing in common. The recovery window that your grandfather's lifestyle guaranteed has been stripped away. And here's why that matters. Your body's ability to produce and regulate cortisol depends on nutritional building blocks that modern food no longer reliably provides. Vitamin C, magnesium, B vitamins, especially pantothenic acid, are depleted by chronic stress faster than the modern diet replaces them. Your grandfather ate whole foods prepared fresh from his own land or garden. Every nutrient his adrenal system needed was there. In your diet today, processed food, depleted soil, and stress-driven depletion have created nutritional gaps that directly impair your body's ability to regulate cortisol. Here's the good news, and I mean genuinely good news. You cannot go back to 1925, and frankly, you wouldn't want to. We have modern medicine, clean water, antibiotics, and countless things worth keeping. But you can give your body the conditions it actually evolved to thrive in, selectively, intentionally, while living a modern life. In my practice and in my book, Cortisol Nation, I've identified what I call the 7 reset levers, the master controls for cortisol regulation. Things like strategic light exposure in the morning, daily outdoor walking, not as exercise, but as the baseline movement your body expects. Digital boundaries that give your nervous system actual recovery windows, and food choices that stop triggering the inflammatory cascade that keeps cortisol elevated. Most of these changes cost nothing. They require no gym membership, no equipment, and no pharmaceutical intervention. They simply require understanding what your body was designed for and making some deliberate choices to give it that. And then there is targeted supplemental support. Because here's the reality. Even if you implement every lifestyle change in this protocol, even if you walk every morning, put your phone away at sunset, eat whole foods, and protect your sleep, your body may still be dealing with years of accumulated cortisol debt. The nutritional depletion from chronic stress doesn't reverse overnight. This is where I became a believer in supplementation, not as a replacement for lifestyle change, but as direct support for an adrenal system under siege. I discovered this personally. Years ago, during the most stressful period of my own clinical career, I was exhibiting every symptom I'd been treating in my patients. Brain fog, exhaustion that sleep didn't fix, a stress response that felt like it was stuck in the on position. I was suffering from exactly what I'm describing to you now. I began using targeted nutrients, pantothenic acid to support adrenal function, adaptogenic herbs to help regulate the stress response, specific vitamins to replenish what chronic stress was depleting. Within weeks, not months, I felt the difference. My patients began reporting the same thing. Your great-grandfather didn't need supplements because his food supply was nutrient-dense, his lifestyle was physically active, and his recovery periods were built in. You're starting from a different baseline. You may need additional support to bridge that gap. That's not a personal failure. It's biology meeting reality. I want to leave you with this. After 29 years of clinical practice, I've seen thousands of patients who came to me convinced there was something fundamentally broken about them. They'd tried everything. They'd been told their labs were normal. They'd been handed prescriptions that addressed symptoms without ever touching the underlying cause. And one by one, when we identified their cortisol pattern and addressed it systematically, with lifestyle changes, with nutritional support, With the protocols I've developed over nearly 3 decades, they transformed. Not gradually over years, often within weeks. Because here's what I know to be true. Your body has an extraordinary capacity to heal when you stop fighting against your own biology and start working with it. The fatigue, the brain fog, the stubborn weight around your midsection, the anxiety that you can't quite explain, the sleep that doesn't restore you. These are not life sentences. They are symptoms of a system under inappropriate stress, waiting for the right conditions to correct itself. You are not broken. Your cortisol system is responding exactly as it was designed to, in an environment it was never designed for. Change the inputs and you change the output. It really is that direct. I wrote Cortisol Nation because I believe we are living through an epidemic that conventional medicine has largely missed. Not because the science isn't there, it absolutely is, but because it requires looking at the whole person, the whole lifestyle, and the gap between how we live and how our biology was designed to function. You now understand that gap better than most people ever will. That knowledge is power. Use it. I'm Dr. Larry Ward. Start with the free cortisol type assessment on our website. It takes 2 to 3 minutes and will tell you exactly what kind of cortisol dysfunction you're dealing with. Then we can build your personalized reset from there. Your grandfather woke up feeling good most mornings. So can you.